Hello everybody, welcome back to Just a Bloke. Today I'm going to be starting the first episode in a series which I'm calling the Depressive Episodes. It's going to be a series essentially encapsulating depression, what it is, my personal experience with it, how I dealt with it, how it made me feel, as well as any sort of tips or I don't like the phrase tips because I don't know. I feel like I did a quick Google of depression on YouTube before I made this video, and a lot of it is like 10 quick tips to beat depression and all of that sort of stuff. And I don't really agree with that sort of concept because unfortunately you can't beat depression with quick tips and quick fixes. Some of them may be useful, but I'm not going down that sort of clickbait like 10 quick ways to make yourself better if you're depressed, because if it was that easy, depression wouldn't, claim as many lives as it sadly does. So I'm just, as I'm doing with all of my videos really, I'm sharing my experiences and what personally helped for me as someone who has actually experienced depression, and then hopefully you can glean any sort of useful information that comes from that. And as well as this, as much as this video is, for people who are maybe suffering with depression or have suffered with depression, is coming back. I think there's also going to be a lot of valuable stuff for anybody who has a friend who might be depressed, or a family member that might be depressed, or anyone that just, wants to learn a little bit more about depression so that perhaps they can spot the early signs of it for someone else. So it's gonna be loads of episodes, hopefully, where I encapsulate all of that. But that's basically the gist of it. Okay, so first of all, I guess we should probably start with the idea of what is depression. And I guess if you're depressed, you probably already know what depression is. But I'm going to give you the World Health Organization's definition of it, just so that we can sort of really lay out the basics, and then I'll sort of further unpack that as we go. So the World Health Organization defines depression as depressive disorder or depression is a common mental health condition that can happen to anyone. It is characterized by a low mood or loss of pleasure or interest in activities for long periods of time. This is different from regular mood changes and feelings about everyday life. Depressive episodes, hence the name of the series, Depressive Episode, last most of the day, nearly every day, for at least 2 weeks. People with depression may experience disturbed sleep and changes to their appetite. They may also have feelings of low self-worth, thoughts about dying, and hopelessness about the future. Tiredness and poor concentration are also common. That was pulled straight off the World Health Organization website. I can leave a link in the comments if you want to go check it out for yourself. I didn't fact check it because it's the World Health Organization, and if we can't trust in that, then Jesus, I don't know what else we could trust in. Or yeah, anyway. So I think it's probably best to start for how it happened to me. So for me, my sort of experience with depression, I guess it didn't start at the start of COVID, but it was all linked with COVID. I'm an extremely extroverted person, very talkative, love socializing, is what gets me up in the morning, talking to people, all that sort of thing, interacting in person. And obviously during COVID-19, well, depending on where you're watching from, Britain was in, I don't know how long we were in lockdown for, but you certainly couldn't go outside and talk to people for a long time, and even when you could, it was in a very sort of forced manner. It could only be, outside or in groups more than 6, and there was all these rules, and it sort of took all the fun out of socialising, because what was socialising turned into very sort of like organised fun, and it was just terrible, awful. So that was sort of the first big thing for me, was that, you put an extrovert inside and don't let them talk to people, they're going to have a pretty bad time. The next thing that happened to me, it doesn't really happen to me, but I was working as an accountant at the time, and I was working some pretty long hours. That's no shade to my previous company. They were actually very helpful with my depression and really quite supportive. So it's not really a complaint, it's just a fact. I was working really long hours at the time. I wasn't furloughed because I could work from home, and I don't think that maybe helped. So I guess it was the combination of the two. And at first, I just thought, oh, I'm just really, I'm down about not being able to socialise, not being able to see my friends, etc., etc. This will probably pass once, like, lockdown procedures get lifted. And my memory of dates in COVID is atrocious, and I think because it's linked to the depression, because apparently, I haven't fact-checked this, but there's a phenomenon in which if you experience something traumatic, your brain sort of attempts to fog it over, or your memory becomes really shaky about events during that traumatic time as a sort of self-protection mechanism. So yeah, the only thing I know about COVID in the UK was that lockdown came in March 2020, and that's only because I've been sort of recently Googling it for this video. I'm always foggy on the dates during COVID, and I think because it's so closely linked to my depression, my brain's just like, nope, don't want to talk about that, don't want to think about that, we're forgetting that. So where was I? Yes. So I didn't sort of realise properly or start to come to terms with the idea that I might be depressed until lockdown started to lift, because at first me and everybody else was telling me like, oh, like, it's just this lockdown, like once lockdown lifts and you can go outside, everything will be fixed and everything will be back to normal, it'll be great. And that's what I believed at the time, and that was not the case. That's when I started to think, shit, okay, this might not just be me having a bad time because I'm locked inside, because I could start going out socialising, and it just wasn't getting better. It just wasn't getting better. I still felt awful. I still felt terrible, and I will go into how I felt during the depression, probably in episode 2, because I'm trying to keep them shorter, and this has already gone on for a decent amount of time. So episode 1 will just be about how it happened to me. So that was when I sort of first started to realise that I was actually depressed, and it's quite I don't know whether it was scary, but it was a bit of an odd experience for me, because I started to think, okay, I might be depressed, but actually saying that out loud was quite difficult. Actually, the first time, I can't remember who I told first, whether it was my mum or work or someone at work that I trusted, but it was hard. It was really difficult. I'd thought about it. I'd written it down in messages, but saying it out loud was quite an ordeal. I'm not a stressy or anxious person, and I'm really quite open with my mental health, hence why I'm making these videos. But that was really hard for me to do, to actually tell someone I think I am depressed. I genuinely don't know when I said that. Sometime, I think around 2021 or 2022. Honestly, don't know. As I said, my dates are really foggy in COVID because of the depression. So that was sort of the first time I really told anyone, and I mean, I'll go into tips in further detail in another video, in another episode, but as an aside, that is probably the single most important thing that you can do, is to tell someone. So if you're struggling and you don't know what to do, it's going to be hard, but the first thing to do is probably to tell someone. What else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, and I guess with the depression, inevitably came some pretty rough thoughts, and I'll probably get more into how it made me feel in episode 2. But with the depression, I was sleeping really bad every day. My sleep pattern was ruined. I wasn't feeling motivated for work. Wasn't even, wasn't even in the question. I mean, at the time, I was suicidal. I wasn't actively suicidal. So I wasn't making any plans to take my own life. But I woke up every day wishing that I hadn't woke up. Sometimes I'd get to a traffic light, and there'd be cars coming past. Well, obviously not when we were in lockdown, but when we were outside of lockdown. And there'd be cars coming past, and I'd think, I wouldn't actively think I want to walk out in front of this car, but I'd be like, it would be good if I wasn't paying attention, or I genuinely thought the road was clear, and I crossed, and then someone was coming too fast, and they hit me. That would be the preferable end result now, which is obviously pretty awful. It was the worst time of my life so far. It was absolutely terrible, and to be in that situation is really, really difficult. And my heart goes out to anybody watching this that is feeling that way, because I know how it feels, and it is atrocious. It's just it's disgusting. It's soul destroying, I guess, and that sounds pretty doom and gloom. I guess when you're in that mental state, it is, right? But I guess the point of this video, as much as it is to make people aware about it and to talk about it, because no one wants to talk about it, understandably, it's quite difficult topic, but I think the harder the topic is to talk about, unfortunately, and paradoxically, the more important it is that we do talk about it. Because unfortunately, this claims a lot of lives, men and women, but I know especially men struggle with suicide. I think I haven't fact checked these statistics, but I think men are more likely to kill themselves. I think it's like when they do it, when they don't really attempt, men are more likely to actually kill themselves, I think. Men obviously famously don't really talk about mental health, hence why I'm making this channel, hence why I'm making the videos, hence why I'm making the series, etc. So yeah, that was sort of my experience, how the depression started for me. Isolated, an extrovert being isolated, working very long hours, stuck in the same house with the same people, which is my family, and I love my family, but if you're stuck in a house for a year with the same people over and over again, it starts to drive you a bit crazy. So that was I guess my sort of story on how I got depression. I think I'm gonna leave it there because I'm trying to make my videos a bit smaller, a bit more bite-sized, a bit more palatable. Hopefully that works to get more views and keep the sort of TikTok attention span of the modern generation where it's 7-second dopamine hit and then fuck off, I'm looking at another video. So hopefully these smaller format videos work. Episode 2 is just going to be on how the depression sort of made me feel. And sort of, I think I've hinted at it and sort of alluded to it in this one, but sort of a real deep dive into how I was feeling specifically and everything like that. So yeah, if you like the series, well, there's only one episode at the time of filming, so if you want more, like, comment, subscribe, do all the notification things. If you feel like you're struggling with this, leave a comment. I'll try and talk to you about it, or at least, hopefully we can make the comments like a positive place where everyone sort of shares their experiences and it becomes a community, where people lean on each other, because I was lucky to have a very good support group when I was depressed, but I know a lot of people don't. So hopefully we can sort of create that on this channel, in the comment section, etc, etc. Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. Thanks. Love you guys. Bye.